It is commonly perceived that the American reptile breeding hobby is the strongest reptile market in the world. But recently, Shane Kelly of Small Town Exotics and I went up to the Canadian Reptile Breeder Expo in Toronto. And while we were there, we were able to talk to some amazing breeders and pick their brains about the differences between the Canadian market and the American side. So for this week's video, we're going to be highlighting some of those breeders, we're going to be showing off some of the incredible animals that they brought to the show, and we're going to finish it off with my thoughts on the differences between the Canadian market and the American market. My name's Steven with Leviathan Snakes, and let's get to it.
My name is Gerald from VIP Morphs. You're right now visiting the CRBE. CRBE is the biggest reptile breeding show in Canada. You will have anywhere between 10,000 to 15,000 people walk through the door this weekend. The animals are all over the spectrum. You'll never get a more diverse amount of animals in one building than here, and it's just amazing to be here. First thing you're gonna see walking through the doors is Billy from Mutation Creation. He's on your left-hand side. This show is just epic. You have everybody from DPR Cold Bloods, NBK, Mutation Creation, Blackheart Exotics, Gecko Diva. It's an amazing show. What an experience. The amount of people, the friendliness, the information you'll get, it's second to none. You cannot avoid this show. If you hear about it, you should be here. Marcus Jane has an amazing display. His animals are gorgeous. His OD is second to none. And the way he does his setup, it's so clean. Aside from him, Billy from Mutation does a great job. He really pushes the husbandry pro, but it's a really nice setup, very clean and very professional. I'm most proud of my world's first, which is the Champagne Wookiee Leopard, verified by Justin Kabilka from Canova, but that's my big thing for this year. So I'm very lucky. The dad actually passed after last year, and he left us with this blessing. He was a Wookiee leopard, bred to a Champagne, and this was the combo that we got.
What's up guys, Antoine from DPR. We're here at the CRBE and I brought some amazing animals, a lot of stuff that's basically holdbacks. I just wanted to show the world some of the stuff that's always in my collection and people don't really get to see, so I'm pretty excited. I'm going to show you a few of my favorites. Obviously, I have to start with some of the monsoon stuff that I hatched this season. Basically, some of the first Orange Dream monsoon, and this female right here is Orange Dream Yellow Belly monsoon. I was so eager to see the interaction of OD and monsoon. I really hope that the orange would translate very well into it, and I think we pretty much nailed it. This animal, the saturation of the orange on the sides is just way too crazy. I don't think that, the idea of altering the monsoon pattern is necessarily everything. I think that we can work with the monsoon pattern, but just add so much color into it, and I'm super excited. This is just one dose of OD. Can you imagine like double dose, like super OD, Enchi, Yellow Belly, Fire monsoon? We're gonna have granite looking animals, neon orange. That's gonna be epic. So I'm super excited for the future of this project. So this is definitely my favorite animal on the table. Let's move on to some different ones. And let's get into this display here. I wanna just pop that one out. The other side, yeah, thank you very much. We're gonna get these two here. So that one there, all right. Okay, so this is an animal that I produced very recently. That is a stacked Desert Ghost female. So this is Orange Dream, Fire, Red Stripe, Black Pastel, Spot Nose, Desert Ghost. and she's also 50% het for clown and G-stripe. We're getting that tested right now, but I just love this animal so much. The contrast, obviously so much insane with the desert ghost in there, and I love those like banded patterns on the side that are coming from the dorsal and not going all the way up to the belly. You know, beautiful white belly and orange vivid sides. This female is going to be amazing as she ages. I'm really excited to see it. And obviously, I don't think I have really to explain why I'm excited to see this animal with the pairings that she could produce. It's just the key for crazy desert ghost combos, and even in different recessive like monsoon. Let's get a monsoon male into this. It will be absolutely insane. So this is just a female that you could use for 20 years in your breeding. So this is definitely an animal that I'm super excited about. And then in the same display, I made this year some pretty cool, I'll grab those two, some pretty cool cypress paints. I think that they're the first one ever made. I honestly, nowadays with the world first, I don't even know if they are world first or not. So this is the straight cypress paint, and this is honey cypress yellow belly paint. So this is a male, this is a female, and I just love basically the pattern of the cypress inside the paint. There's a little bonus, this one doesn't have eyes. So it's kind of an unfortunate thing, but it's going to be like a mascot at the breeding. I'm going to keep this animal. I can't really sell it, but it's a beautiful animal, so I'm going to keep it for sure. And then you see the comparison with the yellow belly. It kind of solidified that dorsal stripe, made it way more black on the sides of that dorsal, and then the rusty orange color. It's just so rich on this one. So I'm really, really excited to add spot nose and clown and even lace or orange dream inside of those animals. I'm really excited about the paint project. So those animals are pretty cool, and I'm really, really happy that we managed to hit 2 of them this season.
So these are 3 tarantulas that I got today at the CRBE. Initially, I was just curious about looking at tarantulas because I have a few jumpers. I saw these guys, and they caught my eye because their proportions are familiar to me because they're somewhat like a jumping spider, except they're a little bit bigger. These guys, you wouldn't really handle them. However, this guy, he'll grow into like a full-size, handleable tarantula. Very sweet. These are the curly hairs.
I'm gonna try to get it in focus real quick. There he is. He's super teeny tiny. So
Yeah, they're very sweet.
there we go. He's in focus right there.
But yeah, my goal with this one is to kind of grow with it, watch as he ages and as he grows, and hopefully become more comfortable because I was kind of apprehensive and terrified of spiders before I got my first jumper, and now I'm kind of hoping to cure or kind of get over my somewhat fear that I have. So I'm really excited, and I look forward to what it brings, whether I start breeding them or if I just have a massive, crazy collection.
Billy here, Mutation Creation. We are at the CRBE, the Canadian Reptile Breeders Expo, day 1. I want to show you a few animals that I have, that I brought. And here's a fan favorite, and one of mine as well. Big fan of freeways and super asphalts, in clown, in lab, in hypo, and pied, you name it. So hope to see a lot of more combos from either myself as well as others in the project, because I've never been disappointed in something I've created or anyone else so far. So much to do. So here's some combos. They're all 50% het monsoon, but they definitely have a lot of what we call the markers that we're looking for. So this one here, this is a black pastel leopard yellow belly, 100% het lav, and it's 50% double het for both piebald and monsoon. Piebald, I'm not really sure. I mean, it's possible, but it doesn't have a lot of the, markers that I would look for, but definitely het monsoon.
Oh, it looks amazing.
The very, very thin eye stripes, the crazy pattern. So, worst comes to worst, it's a double het lavender monsoon. And then of course having the black pastel leopard and yellow belly. And then a sibling to it if we take the leopard out, oh, work with me, work with me. This is a black pastel special, yellow belly, het lavender, double het monsoon pied. So I would say het monsoon for sure. Het pied, again, I'm not 100%. And what I'm looking for in het pied, if you look here, this is a special yellow belly without the black pastel, so one less gene. Really more of a head stamp on this, because sometimes when you stack genetics, it takes other markers away. So when you take the black pastel away, you see a lot of this markers on specials or normal het monsoons. They got a really weird head pattern, thin eye stripe, very crazy pattern. So it's 100% het lav. I'm gonna say 100% het monsoon, it'll prove. And there's those pied markers, the ringers and the belly with the whites. So this to me is going to be a special yellow belly triple het. Where on the other ones, I'm not ruling it out because the other genetics sort of can trump over and not display the markers that we look for as apparent as in this one. Just so, you know, to help explain, how do you know? Why you say possibly and you know this? It's just an educated guess with the experience that we have and looking and seeing what other people have done, and also seeing these markers, holding them back, breeding them, and actually proving it out. So when these markers turn to prove out to be, you know, 90% of the time proving out, you're really safe to say that the marker is going to prove, and that's why we would hold it back. So we'll show you one more. That one's in shed, unfortunately, but here's another one. We'll do this one. Orange Dream, hypopied, possible scrambler. I'm pretty safe to say it's going to prove out to be scrambler, but what a crazy coloration. Everybody that has looked at it, that, you know, is in scrambler or has done stuff, says that they're pretty confident it is scrambler. So right now I still have it listed as possible, but I'm pretty positive it'll prove out. But Orange Dream, hypopied, scrambler.
Amazing and beautiful.
Yeah, it's still so much to do. I mean, there's so many people working with scrambler all over Canada and the US. Chris Hernan, Marcus Jane, many others. It's blowing me away. The more I see of it, the more I'm excited to work with it, because there's so many genes we haven't put in, and who knows how it's going to interact with those other genes. And it's like everything else in ball pythons. You only know unless you do it. So.
Huge thanks to all of the people who took the time to talk to us at the CRBE, and for all of the people who made sure that it was an incredible trip. And one last shout out, because we couldn't have done it without Robin of Redline Shipping, because they sponsored the entire thing, and we cannot say enough good things about Redline Shipping. But to finish up this video, I want to talk about my thoughts on the differences between the Canadian market and the American market, or maybe the Canadian CRBE versus national level American shows. And the very first thing is, I think that the quality, the tiers of animals that are available at both shows, whether it is Daytona or Tinley or the CRBE, I actually think it's about the same. They have just as amazing animals in the CRBE as we do here in the States, and it's not necessarily that that is surprising, but I felt that when we were talking to all of the Canadian breeders, it felt like that was something that they didn't realize, that they had such good animals. But the thing that I thought was really interesting is that the projects and the morphs that they work in Canada are pretty different than the ones that are really, really popular here in the States. So for one, I felt like that there were some incredible genes, some incredible morphs that I've barely seen here in the States, like Scrambler. Now, I don't know much about Scrambler, and it wasn't a gene I had really been paying attention to before going to the CRBE. But if you went into the show and you took off all of the labels of all of the snakes at the show, and then you went through and you picked out the ones that are the brightest, most vivid, the cleanest, the most saturated colors, the most saturated oranges, I am willing to bet money that the animals that you would pick out would have Scrambler in them. And I think that it was a really, really cool thing that, again, we don't really see much here in the States, but I think that there is a ton of potential with that morph, and it's something that I'm definitely interested in the future. On the flip side of that, there were certain morphs and there were certain projects that I barely saw anything of at the CRBE. One of them being Sunset, which is my favorite morph, but also there wasn't very much puzzle that I saw. So I thought that this was an interesting dynamic that they had stuff like Scrambler that we barely see in the States, but there were other morphs that I feel like we have quite a bit down here that they don't really have up in Canada, or they don't have it in very large numbers right now. Moving away from morphs and projects, I want to talk a bit about prices. So there is an exchange rate between the United States and Canada, and I believe it's in favor of the United States, but I'm not exactly sure what it is, so I'll throw up like a subtitle or something like that. So with this in mind, the prices don't mean that it's dollar for dollar between Canadian and American, but for the most part, I would say that the Canadian prices that we saw were actually higher than a lot of the American prices that I'm used to seeing. So again, I thought that this was pretty good because it's a sign that there is a strong, stable market there where breeders are able to sell their animals for a higher number, even if the exchange rate to American dollars ends up being about the same. The last big difference that I noticed when we were both at the show and talking to the various different people that we saw in Canada was that they don't have nearly as many reptile shows as there are in the United States. So I think that this can be a really, really good thing for their market, or at least a really good thing for the people who've been to the shows, because it feels like an event. Now, there have been a ton of different amazing videos put out on this Canada trip, and I'm going to link them in the description, but you should definitely check out the stuff from Shane Kelly of Small Town Exotics, from Chris and the Bee Squad over at Fat Man Nation. But the overall trip was amazing. It was such a good experience, and I can't wait to go back and do it again. So we hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please don't forget to hit the like button, leave a comment, and subscribe, but we will see you next week.